After becoming familiar with the use of WordPress as a form of presenting our progression for our coursework in AS last year, as the immediate class we continued using the same site but also created new blogs so there was no confusion between the work. The construction of the blog includes documentation of all the processes of the project, including pre-production, production, post-production, evaluation. Last year I found this process challenging, but with more experience I found that I was developing my creativity skills within my blog, for example inserting feature and images in each page, which not only made it more visual for the viewers, but also each photo had relevance to the page. Likewise, attaching PowerPoint documents and prezzies as a link rather than a long URL name made the page look more professional. In the research and planning stage, the internet is pivotal for building our knowledge. For example, the first step in deciding our genre for our film trailer was to create a survey in which we decided to use SurveyMonkey. This online platform aided us to understand more about what the general public think about the variety of aspects of films that are available to them. For example, how long they'd like the trailer to be, and what characters would they like to feature in the magazine front cover and the poster. We use SurveyMonkey in our AS coursework and continue to use it as it was an efficient method of collecting data, as we could easily attach the link to an email, text or on social media sites such as Twitter and Facebook, which allowed for an even larger amount of responses. Whilst deconstructing various film trailers, magazine front covers and film posters, Google was the platform which allowed us to research so much information. For example, I initially researched the top horror films, which allowed us to have a starting point in choosing which films to deconstruct, as if these were deemed as successful in their genre, it would be more likely they would want to be influenced by them for our own horror production. We also use websites such as Wikipedia and IMDb to gain further research. We viewed the trailers on YouTube as it was the easiest site rather than using DVDs of the films that we might not have. Once receiving this information, I used Microsoft Word to note down the information and PowerPoint to present my findings in an aesthetically pleasing way. In terms of organisation and communication, I created a meeting and minutes page on my blog, which allowed us to record our progress and any developments made, as well as listing tasks needed doing in a diary entry format. I also used my iPhone 6 to communicate with my group over WhatsApp. Another effective way of using WhatsApp to communicate was our actors, in which we had a separate filming group chat, which allowed us to ask when they were free to film. Outlook Web was used for many different tasks throughout my coursework, including communicating with our teachers to ask for permission for filming equipment, and also sending the link to our survey to a mass amount of people. In my opinion, I do not think it was the most effective technology to use for communication, as responses can be slow and responses received from our survey compared to our AS work due to using social media. I enjoyed using these platforms as they are easily accessible either on my laptop or on my phone and easy to use. For example, we used our focus group profile photos from Facebook with their permission, which saved us time photographing them individually. During the production process of the trailer, we used a variety of different cameras due to availability of the school equipment, but likewise we found that in our AS coursework task we only used 2 cameras, although we had never tested these before, and so when it came to the editing stage it was apparent that the quality level between the footage was different. Hence, this year, we wanted to ensure the footage was of the highest quality with as little difference as possible. We were able to have access to a wider range of filming equipment this year, such as the Panasonic GX7, Canon 1100D, green screen, GoPro, iPhone 6 camera and a Gorilla Pad to stabilise our filming. This aided us in creating different shots, as the GoPro, for example, was used in a home video, as this was a physical filming task in which one of our actors had to have extracted to allow us to create the shot we wanted. We used the editing software Cerebro Plus X6 Digital Edition in our AS task last year, and so despite needing some practice of basic skills at the beginning of our production, we were very similar with it, although this year we wanted to develop our creative skills. For example, the scene of Emma in the car with James displays her as a ghost. This was created by decreasing the opacity of half the screen. This was very effective as it made her look transparent, just like a ghost. Although this was not an easy process, as Leela had to ensure that it still matched up with the rest of the position of the film at the time. This software was provided by the school, and so we didn't have access to this at home. Although this wasn't necessarily a problem, as if we were all to have the software available to us at home, it may have meant we were editing different parts and could have possibly caused some confusion. I didn't personally play a large role in the editing process, as this year we decided to each play our roles in which we were stronger at. For example, Leela and Ariane have greater skills in the editing process, although I was still able to contribute by making changes in terms of continuous task. Although Adobe Photoshop was not compulsory, it was advised. At first, I was very apprehensive of using it, as creating a magazine front cover and film poster with no experience of it seemed a little overwhelming. It was completely new software to me and was quite confusing to begin with. However, after many hours of practicing, I managed to teach myself, with the aid of YouTube videos, the essential skills to create both text. For example, I was focusing on making all the text have the same or a similar font in each ancillary task so that it would combine well with the film trailer. At first, I struggled with making the text look professional by creating the perfect combination of colour, size and precision of text, in which a lot of practice and redrafts were needed. Although I'm particularly fond of the skill of double exposure in my poster, as this was not only time consuming, but I found it extremely difficult as I was following a how-to video which had a newer version of Photoshop than I had access to. To present the evaluation questions, I wanted to use a variety of creative forms which would conclude the information in an informative manner, and so the platforms I used were Prezi, which I previously used for other purposes. For question 2, I used a PowerPoint presentation, although I developed my skills by featuring a time lapse and a voiceover to aid the consumer with the presentation. A new platform which I initially struggled with was PowerToon. In order to create question 3, I decided to use it as it's an interactive software which produces a video presentation. I think if I was to have more time to focus and make use of all the tools it offers, it could have been a more successful use of it. Finally, for question 4, I used Microsoft Window Maker, as this is the type of question that needs the most visual aid. It took quite a long time to match the dialogue and the images and videos, but I thought it was the most effective way to show my evaluation with the use of different media techniques.
Although when coming to export the video, unfortunately it didn't allow me unless I had to buy the full trial. So therefore I had to transfer all the video files and the voice notes onto Serif Movie Plus. This was not necessarily a bad thing, as I knew how to use it, and even though it was time consuming, it was the most effective way.